What's going on, y'all? You're back. I want to thank you if you're tuning in. I'm your host, Paco, and you're listening to Occupy the Media. Okay, before the break, we were talking about, let's see here, this headline at bradblog.com. GOP in California hired a professional con artist who turned in thousands of fraudulent voter registrations and $50,000 bounty scheme. Okay, and we left off. Let's see, at the heart of this scandal, other than the extraordinary hypocrisy of the GOP inaccurately accusing Democrats of voter fraud while carrying out and paying top dollar for extensive registration fraud schemes year after year after year, is the bounty system used by Republican Party to gather Republican-only registrations at the price of anywhere from $5 to $12 each. The practice remains legal in California, but has continuously led to GOP election fraud by folks with criminal backgrounds hired again and again by the Republican Party. Every time details emerge about Democratic forms being shredded, false names being submitted to registrars, and party affiliations fraudulently being changed from Democratic to Republican. If the Democratic Party is doing anything similar in this state or any other, we've not heard about it, even as the Republican Party had long criticized Acorn for paying workers on per registration basis. They didn't, but it didn't stop the GOP's professional anti-Acorn clowns and profiteers like Matthew Vadum from falsely accusing them of doing that, and much worse. The GOP, meanwhile, had been found to do this in election after election, as we detailed in our original report. And as we highlighted while appearing on Fox News in September of 2008, just before that year's presidential election, on the day of that Fox appearance, Mark Anthony Jacoby, head of Young Political Majors, the firm hired by California's state Republican Party that year to carry out their voter registration headhunt, was arrested on voter registration charges. He would eventually plead guilty. When asked about the scandal, Jeffy Wiley, the campaign manager for incumbent Republican U.S. Representative Dan Lundgren, who was running this year in a new swing district where Momentum Political Services was gathering Republican registrations, he called the matter unfortunate, according to Felicia Mello at Elk Grove Patch. When Republicans actually pay for the fraudulent activity, it's unfortunate, but has nothing to do with the candidates from the party who paid for it. When a tiny handful of Acorns, tens of thousands of registration workers did the same thing, it was one of the greatest frauds in voter history in this country, and destroying the fabric of democracy, as then GOP presidential nominee John McCain actually charged during a presidential debate in 2008. Now, you see, the Democrats in a general election, at least, they don't need to cheat, because McCain was definitely going to lose, and Romney's going to lose if he was to become a nominee. You know, Republicans want to talk all about Acorn. Well, here you go. You guys are hiring criminals to get registrations done. This is what the Republican Party is doing. It's more shenanigans. And speaking of shenanigans, we have one that's about to go down today. If you guys haven't heard or seen, Romney will clinch the nomination today. Unfortunately, I'm not saying it's legitimate or it's true, but that's what you're going to be hearing in the news. You already are. At Newser.com, Romney to clinch the nomination today. Stemming from WashingtonPost.com, Mitt Romney to officially clinch Republican nomination today. For so long, he was the putative frontrunner, the nominal frontrunner, the weak frontrunner. Then he became the all but certain nominee. And by Tuesday night, he'll be able to ditch those modifiers. Willard Mitt Romney is about to do what his father didn't and no one in his church ever has. With Tuesday's Texas primary, he is poised to secure the 1144 delegates required to clinch the Republican presidential nomination at the party's August convention. Let's see here, but it should become official on Tuesday when Texas voters are expected to push Romney over the finish line in the delicate race. And with that, the Republican Party will have selected an unlikely standard bearer for 2012, a New Englander in a party rooted in the South, a man of moderate temperament in a party fueled by hot rhetoric, a Mormon in a party guided by evangelical Christians, a flip-flopper in a party that demands ideological purity. However reluctantly they may have settled on Romney, most Republicans are now rallying behind him. You hear that lie? The Washington Post is lying. That's not true. Why is Ron Paul winning conventions? Most Republicans are now rallying behind him. On Monday, about 5,000 people, one of the largest crowds of his campaign, turned out to see him pay tribute to veterans in San Diego. Now, did they really turn out just for Mitt Romney? Or was there another event going on, and he just happened to show up or go there? For a campaign used to having to place robocalls and blast out emails to generate a crowd, this was a shock. A few hours later in Clinton, Iowa, another shock. So many people turned out to see Romney give his stump speech at Homer's Deli and Sweetheart Bakery that he gave a second speech at Rastrelli's, an Italian restaurant across the street. What a crowd, what a welcome, Romney gushed, a little bewildered. This response in Clinton comes as a bit of surprise, I have to tell you. You surprised because you packed out a little bakery? A little Italian restaurant? Ron Paul's packing out stadiums, man. You know, third-party candidates are packing out bigger crowds than Mitt Romney. This is a joke. The Washington Post, the mainstream media, all of you guys are a joke. And if I can curse on Ron Paul Radio, I would be doing it right now. Because you guys tick me off, man, with these. It's just so amazing. I mean, this guy over here is getting 5,000, 8,000, 6,000, 4,000, 3,000, 1,000 people crowds in a few days' notice. And this dude packing out restaurants and they're acting like it's a big deal. It's amazing, man. It really is amazing. The matrix of the world that we live in. It's ridiculous, man. You know, it drives me crazy because I know they're going to just be spitting all through the media today about Romney getting the nominee. Let's, we have this little clip, actually, of Ron Paul talking about the voting system, actually. Somebody interviewed and just put him up here on YouTube. I don't know if it's new or if it's just put up as new. Let's see. Okay, I think we're going to have to play that for you guys on next break so I can hook up my second audio. I set it up, I haven't hooked it up yet. So, yeah, you guys, we are seeing these headlines here about Romney going to clinch the nomination today. I'm pretty sure that we'll be seeing it on the headlines here on CNN, MSNBC as well. But let me know what you think about that in the chat room, or you can hit me up on Facebook, Paco Elijah. Maybe we'll be talking about it more later at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern time today. But, yeah, today in Texas, you know, it's funny because they're about to give him the nomination with Ron Paul's home state, which we know there is no chance in the world that Romney's going to beat Ron Paul today. There's no chance. I'm not buying it. I'm not believing it. Okay? For one, it's Ron Paul's home state. So more people in this state know about Ron Paul than any other given state. It's his home state. You know, he's from Lake Jackson. What else? I mean, he's been elected how many times as a congressman? So there's people in Texas that are definitely going to come out and vote for him. And all the people that follow the Republican orders, the Republican establishment, they probably don't even know that there's voting today because everyone thinks Mitt Romney is the nominee. So people that like Mitt Romney are not going to show up to vote, and I bet you they haven't. And there isn't even that many of them anyways. So the fact that he's going to have the nomination is a joke. But get ready for it. In a few hours, that's what you'll be hearing. Anyways, I'm your host, Paco. We'll be back after the break. Stay tuned.
Dr. Ron Paul, more than 4,000 babies delivered. A man of faith, committed to protecting life.
Hey, Brenda, can you hear me?
This whole notion of life not
Okay,
being...
yeah, I've been on mute because I'm on the radio. It's a commercial right now. But look, if you look at the top of your page, all the way at the top right, there should be a little
an abortion on a
Ron
late
Paul
pregnancy
Radio shoutcast play button that you can click on.
that was able to cry and breathe. And they
Yep,
put
so if
little
you want to
buttons
tune in, you can
in
right
the
there.
room and pretended it wasn't there.
I have a 30-second delay, so that's why I mute myself.
Born
so that
early,
people
slightly
can
bigger
hear
than
me.
the baby that they just put in a bucket. They wanted to save this baby. So they might have had 10 doctors in there doing everything conceivable. Who are we to decide that we pick and throw one away and pick up and struggle to save the other ones? Unless we resolve this and understand that life is precious and we must protect life, we can't protect liberty. I'm Ron Paul, and I approve this message.
This national poll shows that Ron Paul is the best candidate that stacks up against Obama.
Well, Ron Paul wants to take away my Social Security, so I don't like him.
He's actually the only candidate that has a real plan to save your Social Security. Not only save it, but save the purchasing power of your monthly check.
Prices have been going up a lot lately.
We need to make cuts. Bring our troops home.